We were pretty famous back in high school.
Trust us. Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
It's just gonna be a goofy one.
Hey, it's the Zoomy episode.
What do you mean?
Well, if I
Whoa.
move around, the camera follows me, and I don't want it to do that. But here we are. Now you can see the other light on the other side of my bed. This is well. How do I make it like zoom in the most? Do I have to hide my arms? Yeah. If I have no arms showing, it zooms in the most. The less I am of a person, the closer it wants to zoom in on me.
The more you're just a game of life peg.
Yeah.
The
hopefully I'm a blue one, but time will tell.
I mean, pink used to be the color for boys back in the day. So
when was this?
Maybe the 50s. I don't know. Like way back in the day, pink was for boys and blue was for girls. And for some reason it flipped.
I want to doubt this.
It's true.
It's on record.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of record, but I still am a curious fellow.
The idea that pink is for girls and blue is for boys originated in 1918. So sorry, a little bit before the 50s, in an article published in Earnshaw's Infants Department.
Pink was seen as a masculine color.
Yeah. The article stated that pink was a stronger color and more suitable for boys, while blue was more delicate and prettier for girls. Pink is also associated with red, which was considered too harsh for girls, while blue was associated with sky and daylight. So,
I'm glad that
Let's open this episode up with facts, with crazy old facts.
I'm glad that, we had to make those determinations as a species. Like which color is better for which gender. As I'm sure this was, I guess I shouldn't assume it was decided by men, but in order to keep men the more masculine and strong appearing figures, we better adorn them in the more, what is considered the more masculine color or colors. And let's keep the women like more light and pretty and dainty and less self-reliant.
But the thing is too, like both of those colors, depending on the shade, can feel either more masculine or feminine. Like how many different shades of blue are there? I mean, they become different colors. They're not just considered blue anymore, but it's like you can go way darker, which can seem, I guess, more masculine for some reason. Darker colors are more masculine for whatever reason. But as you start to get way down in the whiter aspect of blue, when you start making it a lot of a lighter, softer color, which I guess is more attuned to females are much softer than men, so they deserve brighter, softer, prettier hues.
I would say on average, I think I know some examples where it's flipped, but
many.
Maybe some group did a study and they determined that of the shades of blue and of the shades of pink, more of the pink shades were leaning toward a feminine, softer, more dainty color as opposed to the amount of blue shades that did that. So they're like, well,
things were a lot simpler back in the day when it was just one or the other. Like
when it was just pink or blue.
It was just like if you're no. It was like if you are a woman, you are dainty and whatever, and if you are a man, you are a masculine. And it's just like, well, it's not that simple nowadays. Like,
do you say you are
very unmasculine men? And no, I am not I would say I'm not masculine at all.
No. I said, Did you say that if you're a man, you are a masculine? Possibly.
Is that what I said? I don't know.
I hear what I hear. And I don't get upset.
Yeah. I think back in the day, that narrowed mindset of women are this and men are that was just kind of, it was such a simple way of life. Things were simpler. Things were easier.
Well, it was designed to keep one side of things having the upper hand. Yeah. Very much in power.
Yeah, it was a marketing ploy, and only men were in marketing.
That's true. So, back in the 19th century, I'm sure that was the case.
I've never seen Mad Men, but I can imagine that's a lot of what it was about.
There was a lot of men that kind of ran things and were the higher ups, and a lot of female secretaries and assistants. A couple women were standouts, and they had a little bit of a higher position, but it was very few and far between.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a large group of...
still had men bosses, I imagine.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
At some point, I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. But there was one character, I think her name was Peggy. She started off sort of as like the boss of all the secretaries. Like she kept them all, like she would reassign them if there was a problem that one of the ad execs had with their secretary, she might reassign them to another ad exec and so forth. And so she sort of kept that under control. And then they sort of broke away from their agency and formed their own agency at some point, the main figures in there. And I believe, I'm not sure if she was officially made a partner at that time, but she was sort of one of the heads of the new agency. So
gotcha.
And then this woman, was Peggy the other one? Joan? No, Peggy was the one I was talking about. Joan was another character who started off as, John Hamm's character, the main guy. She started off as his secretary, I believe, and she ended up becoming like a copywriter and stuff like that. So she moved up a little bit, but it was very slow. And it did just like open the doors for tons of women to go for these positions. So
yeah, she was 89 by the time she became a copywriter or whatever you said she was.
Yeah, and she could barely read at that point and write.
Yeah, her glasses were very thick.
Yeah, and no man wanted to have a meeting with her because she was so old and homely. So they had to. They were begging to, bring up some more attractive female to head the meeting.
Right.
I say this not, that's how I feel. This is stuff that happened in the show. Like not really to that character, but there would definitely be cases where a secretary was maybe replaced because they weren't considered attractive enough. Things like that.
Yeah, and everybody knows that Mad Men was based on a true story.
I mean, yeah.
Based on real events.
Yeah, it's based on the Madison Avenue advertising agencies. Mad Men. That's what it was. That's what it's from.
Oh, I thought it was just a bunch of angry dudes.
No, that's 12 Angry Men.
I've seen that.
Yeah. Mad Men is not an adaptation or a remake or of any sort of 12 Angry Men. There's completely separate things.
I knew that. I just assumed that Mad Men was about a bunch of mad men.
Like angry or like Mad Hatter mad? Like I've got Mercury in my hat mad.
I guess I assumed angry, but now I don't know.
I would love to watch Mad Men if it were about a bunch of basically Mad Hatter type characters. Maybe a little more subdued, toned down from the
just
Disney
a show
cartoon
about a bunch
version.
Of insane people.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you'd have to have some people. Maybe you could have one that was like not as bad, and so they were the more grounded character that the audience could identify with. Well, but they're a little mad.
It could be a show where it was like, you just think it's about this advertising agency, but then at the end, there's a twist ending where you find out that they're all in an insane asylum. And this has all just been something that they all like collectively imagined was happening.
They got Shyamalan?
I mean,
Or they got the movie Identity.
I don't know that movie.
Oh, crud. Well, I may have spoiled something for you. Not really. That movie had an ending.
I would assume, otherwise it'd still be going.
Do you
They never
remember
would've been filming it.
Do you remember when The Big Thing was a twist ending? There was a good few year run where
I think it's still happening.
I mean, it does
Maybe not
still
as
happen,
much.
but it seemed like there was a stretch of time, and I'm trying to think of the movie that really kicked it off. I can't think of what it was. Maybe it was The Sixth Sense. It might have been that one that sort of kicked things off.
The Sixth Sense definitely wasn't like the first movie to ever have a twist ending, but I think that's the movie that really like got people going on it.
Yeah, there was like the movie Identity has one, and then there's a movie I think it's called The Others with Nicole Kidman had a twist ending, and plenty of others that I can't think of now as examples. Probably because I haven't seen them.
Everything else Shyamalan has done. Yeah,
The Village. I've not seen many Shyamalan movies. I think I've seen
Signs. Signs didn't really have a twist ending, I guess.
What's the one where they're sort of living within the woods, like is that The Village?
That's Village.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that movie, but as far as
that had a twist.
As far as his other movies, I don't think I've seen any of them.
So Signs is about an alien invasion.
I knew
and
that.
There isn't really a twist at the end. It's just that they are that the aliens are allergic to water, so they're just easily destroyed.
I know. I've heard that.
That one. Yeah, that one. Now that I'm thinking about it, didn't really have a twist ending. It was just had a bad ending.
Because what he came out with, is it called Older or Old? Like, what's the one where they're on this island?
Yeah, I think it's
pretty recent.
It's just called Old,
and they just age crazy fast and die because of something. And then there was that movie. Was it called The Happening?
Yeah,
where it's Wahlberg. It's like, it's wind or something.
No, it was plants. It was the plants.
Oh, the plants. Okay,
the plants were killing people.
I have not seen that movie, but I saw
Nor have I.
I saw the honest trailer for it, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I've seen enough clips from it.
What?
That's about it.
No. What?
Yeah.
No. Dude, have you seen Andy? Have you ever seen Andy Samberg do Mark Wahlberg talks to animals?
Right. Yeah.
It's
dog.
Glorious. Hey dog, how's you say hi to your mother for me?
Yeah.
Genius sketch. Genius.
Yeah. Shyamalan also did The Last Airbender.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. The twist at the end of that movie was that he tried to make the audience think there was going to be a sequel.
Oh, burn.
Because it was so bad.
I thought the twist was going to be there turned out to be several other airbenders.
No.
You know what?
If he would have done that would honestly, like there's not much he could have done to make that movie bad on top of what he already done. If he had done that would have been the absolute worst. Because the thing, it's almost, he had such great source material to pull from for that fucking film, and just did it so bad.
Bad. I run into issues where obviously a director is going to have their own style, of course, but sometimes when it just doesn't mix well with what you've got going for you, it can ruin things. Like I don't know if you ever saw it or not, but I'm not a fan of the second Doctor Strange movie.
I did see that.
Yeah, because Sam Raimi directed it, and he's got to have all of his Raimi-isms all throughout the film, and it's like,
you talked about this.
Yeah, even though they don't make sense for what's going on, they're there because he's Sam Raimi, and this is what he does. No matter what the story calls for, I'm going to Sam Raimify it. And yes, people were like, "Oh, great, Sam Raimi's returning to a superhero film because he did the first those Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire."
Yeah, but look how those ended.
Yeah, and look how, you go back on them now and they don't, they kind of were great for the time, but they don't really age well. Not that they're controversial or anything like there's anything like that, but they just, you look at them now through the lens of seeing through the lens of someone who's seen all these recent Marvel movies. You're like, wow, it was good for its time, but it doesn't keep up with what's going on now.
I think I can appreciate them for the fact that he did what he did at the time he did it. So, I mean, they were very groundbreaking at the time and everything. And it was just like, okay, I can still enjoy them for that. But I think the second one is the best of the three. The third one, in my opinion, is unfucking watchable.
I think a lot of people herald the second one as the superior. I mean, similar to this falls in the same sort of ranking as the original Star Wars trilogy. People love the second one, the first one, and then the third one in that order. And that's kind of what these Spider-Man movies do too. The same thing could be said for the Dark Knight trilogy. Wow, look at that. I think a lot of people like the first one more than the third one. I
can see that. I think I agree that I think the second one is the best. But I would say the first and the third to me are pretty much just kind of equal. Okay. I mean, I think the third one ties it all up nicely, kind of ends it all nicely. There's some things in it that are just kind of like, okay, that doesn't make sense. I really haven't. Him fixing his own back without surgery and all that shit. And
he's Batman, Yeah. He's super Batman. I can probably say that I've watched the first movie at most 2 times, maybe even just once all the way through. And then the second one, I would say 3 times tops.
They're going to be like 17 times.
No, I would say maybe 3 times. And it's been a really long time since I've even thought about watching it. The third one, maybe once, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I mean, because I remember seeing it in the drive-in, actually. Yeah. And my son was like, I forget how old he was, but he was very, very young. And so I remember having to like deal with him a few times. You're distracted with a crying kid or a changing diaper or something. And then
he was a zygote.
He was. He still is. He's the biggest zygote ever. He keeps growing, but he doesn't seem to get past zygote stage.
Right.
It's bizarre. He's being studied right now. Yeah. He's on constant surveillance, and
that's different.
well, he's being monitored. How about that? He's being monitored in a lab. They're taking samples.
Anyways, Batman 1 time, third one time.
Yeah, second one maybe 3 times.
Okay.
Maybe I couldn't honestly tell you, Matt.
Sure, however,
that's
Well, wait. Okay, so what is your ranking on the Back to the Future trilogy?
To be honest, as a kid, when I first saw them, I probably would have said the second one was my favorite, just because.
Right. It's because it's in the future.
It's in the future, and it was all these cool things. But I actually think I probably would prefer to watch the first one over the second one.
I kind of think, in terms of those movies, it's 1, 2, 3 in that order of like one's the best, 2's the second best, the third one's I say the worst, but it's not a bad movie by any means. But it's of the 3, it's the it's the least good of the 3.
It's definitely a far departure from the other 2 because of it's this oddly set in the 1800s, and you're like, well, this is totally weird, but they still do a really good job, I think, of putting all these pieces together. But there was something I saw that I didn't watch, but I think the thumbnail said something like, "Oh, in Back to the Future 3, they ignored the second time machine," or something like that. Because he travels back to.
Yes,
there would have been the one that Doc would have gone there in.
Doc there should be 2 there.
Doc got zapped in it back to 1885. Then he left it in a cave for Marty to find later to come back to save him or something, even though he told him not to.
Oh, yeah.
but then Marty would have taken that time machine back to get him. So it technically was the same
So it
time
should
machine,
still
but
be there.
it's all the same time machine, but they would have, in
Yeah.
a way, there would have been two time machines there at the same time because of that.
Exact. Yeah, there should have been. Yep.
And there was a whole issue with they couldn't power it because the gas line broke or something when Marty was trying to get away from the cavalry or a bear or something, whatever. Something was chasing him.
Yeah.
He had to drive
bear was
fast
in
into
the
a cave. Yeah, that's right. He drove in the cave to get away from, I think the cavalry was chasing some other people, and then something happened to the gas line, so he had to actually physically run away from the bear and not drive away.
But yeah, so he should have been able to take the gas line off of the other DeLorean that should have still been there and possibly should have still had some gasoline in it. Maybe?
Yeah,
or was
maybe.
he out of gasoline? Even though it's also supposed to be powered by garbage. There's a whole thing. We could go. We could deep dive into all of that again. Like we did a whole episode on Back to the Future.
We did. Yeah, we're not going to do that again.
There's clearly things we missed.
Real time situation here. I'm being asked if Leo can watch South Park,
the show or the movie.
I'm thinking I'm going to ask the show or movie.
Kind of doesn't matter.
Because the show's like bleeped, right?
Yeah, but it's still
pretty. Oh, she said movie.
Pretty messed up. The bigger, longer uncut? Absolutely
yes, not. It is vulgar.
It is vulgar, and there's at least one cartoon penis in it.
Yeah, the thing is, I know he's watched a lot of things that I have not seen myself to know. No, but to know what he's been exposed to or not, I don't know everything he's been exposed to already.
You have to check the surveillance tapes.
Yeah, because I know he's seen stuff like The Last of us, which was a show on HBO, which is about zombies or something.
I never watched that.
She said,
it's based on the video game.
I'll say this. Let me watch it again real soon and see what I think.
From what I remember of it, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to say no.
I probably will. The funny thing is, I was just thinking, I want to start introducing him to some of because years ago I introduced him to. Okay, well, we have it on the screen right now on pause. I don't. Okay. She's
going to stop it so fast if she turns it on and has him watch it. The opening song is called Uncle Fucker.
Well, stop it. Matt, just let me know the. See, I don't even remember that, so I wouldn't have been able to pull that on.
Real-time hilarious shit right now.
I know, real-time parenting.
Should my 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 10-year-old?
He's 12.
He's 12 now. Okay, that's what I thought. Should my 12-year-old watch Bigger, Longer, and Uncut? That came out in, I think, 99.
Yeah,
right.
That she said.
So
LOL.
we were what, 17, 16,
99.
15? Wait, 15?
I turned 8. We turned 18 in the year 2000, so 17. Or maybe 16 when depending on the time of the year it was released.
Like 16, 17 when that came out. So we were like, "Oh my god!" when that movie came out, and we somehow went and saw it.
Well, we were 17.
I suppose. What is it? 17 for R?
You're able, it's 17 or older. You're able to attend an R-rated movie unaccompanied.
Okay, I thought it was 18 for whatever reason. But I guess there's NC-17, which means nobody under the age of 17. So for whatever reason, 18 is an adult for pretty much anything else except for R-rated films. But yeah, I remember us seeing that at that point and being kind of blown away by how crazy and vulgar that movie is.
I think part of that just lended to the fact that we were exposed to the show and we knew the show had language in it, but they bleeped it. We knew what they were saying, but they bleeped it. But this was the fact that it wasn't bleeped.
Yeah.
And it was a movie. So I think that
they go above and beyond.
Yeah. No, so it's funny that this was coming up because when he was younger, I showed him movies like, the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Sandlot and those types of things. Mm-hmm. And then I was just thinking, maybe this in the last month or so, like, oh, I should start showing him other, like, little more mature movies like Wayne's World, Tommy Boy, and those types of things. There's some
Where
sexually...
Yeah, but those jokes are going to go, a lot of the jokes in that are going to go way over his head immediately.
And the thing is, they did when I watched them. But I remember thinking, like, well, because Wayne's World came out when I was like 10 and I saw it around that time. So, but yeah, those jokes went over my head. So
there's also a thing of like comedies from the 90s are a lot different from comedies now. Like they do not do comedies now like they did in the 90s. And I feel like there was a lot of stuff that you could get away with and say in those movies then that you really kind of can't now. There's a lot of language. Like Iman recently rewatched Sex and the City again for like the 100 millionth time. She'll just throw shit on in the background. Like she's not really paying attention to it, but it's just something that's kind of playing in the background that's familiar, so she doesn't have to really watch it.
Luckily, your TV is in the background.
Yeah, it's behind us. We don't face it when we watch it. They drop the FAG word so much in that show.
Oh, do they?
It's insane how much they say that word, and I'm just like, holy crap! Like that, you cannot get away with saying that word anymore, or calling people retards.
Yeah.
And stuff like that is just like, Jesus, like it's kind of crazy when you start to watch older stuff and you're just like, I don't remember this being like okay ever.
Was that mid 90s or late 90s? When did that come out?
Sex and the City ran from like, I want to say it was like mid to, God, what was it? Like 95, 96, somewhere in there, maybe when it started running.
I'll say it was mid.
You always say things are
mid.
Well,
I'm trying to.
I'll check the runtime of that show real quick.
Matt, you are a fan of anime, correct?
98 was when it started.
It started?
It was 6 seasons.
All right. 98 to 04.
Yeah.
You like anime, correct?
Sure. I like quite a bit of anime.
You'll be surprised to know that it's only been a couple episodes, but I have been exposed to an anime show.
Okay, which anime show?
My son is very into anime, and so he wanted me to watch.
It's kind of cool.
Sure, like someone could argue that, if they may.
Like,
if they choose, they could argue that he is possibly.
I think he's a dweeb.
Cool. I prefer the term square. Poindexter. No. It's called Attack on Titan. Have you seen Attack on Titan?
I have seen everything but the absolute. So I think I'm trying to think if the last season is actually fully done, but maybe I don't know if it's been released in the US yet. Maybe it has. I haven't checked. But yeah, I've watched everything up until this last chunk that's supposed to be released soon or is.
He watches it on Crunchyroll, as I'm not sure if that has everything on it already or if
possibly
it's subject to American release. But I will say this. I don't remember what type of anime I was exposed to before. Like I know like the Pokemon show and I don't even know what else, to be honest. Sailor Moon, stuff like that.
Yep.
But the animation in this show is outstanding. Like it is
an awesome show.
Very impressive. And it's hard for me to, I think my hangups with anime were always what I consider to be sort of non-smooth animation with like the actual characters, and that still exists. They'll have hair flowing in the wind, but like and stuff like that. But when it comes to like facial movements and just body movements, it's all just still this weird. I can't figure out why it feels so not smooth. But
they do. There's a lot of like exaggerated stuff in anime a lot of times.
Well, it's not that it's exaggerated. I don't think you know what I mean. So like if someone just turns their head it's not like a smooth, because the background, like all this motion going around, there's so much stuff that is so smooth, but for some reason, maybe it's just high frame rate type of smooth, or, like so many pictures per. But whenever someone turns their head, I see the ... like the three harsh points. I don't see a smooth movement. And I'm like, they do everything so well. Why is this not done with a smooth motion?
So this is a stylistic choice.
Yeah, but it's the same style in every single anime I've ever seen. Not that I've seen a lot, but it's always been that way. And I've never seen, but I'll say this, I've never seen an example where it doesn't do that. And maybe it's just my eyes, because
maybe you just have really highly sensitive eyes to
animation. For example, my phone my screen has a variable refresh rate. It can be as low as 10 hertz or as high as 120 hertz. If the motion speed of whatever's happening on it calls for 120 hertz, it'll show it in that frame rate. So if I'm swiping just from page to page on my phone, I see the smoothness compared to, say, my son's phone, which is locked in at 60 hertz. I noticed the difference. I'm like, Leo, do you notice a difference between swiping on your phone and my phone, or even his iPad? And he said he doesn't notice a difference. But I see it, and I can't unsee it. When I use like his iPad for a second, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see how just sort of juddery this looks. It's not as smooth as
maybe you're more sensitive to it.
Could be. So that always but I think the worst part, the bigger thing I always hated was I'm always seeing it in an English dubbed version.
Right.
And boy, whoever they find to do the acting for these, like, they all overact the hell out of everything. There's no levels of anger. It's when you're angry, you're just shouting at the top of your lungs every single line. There's no variance whatsoever.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm like, I just didn't enjoy watching it. So I think maybe the show's a little better. Maybe I'm able to forgive it more just because I'm like, who cares? Why am I getting so hung up on these stupid things? But I will say, when someone sort of describes a show to you and talks about a show to you, you obviously have you create an image in your head of what it might be like or look like or sound like or whatever. And then you see the real thing. Whatever these Titan things are, I'm like, I did not expect that at all. These are so goofy.
Yep. A lot of them are just really weird.
Yeah, silly and they're not I mean, it is weird. They look humanoid, but they also look not human. It is a weird in between. It is sort of ominous. You're like, oh, this is I wouldn't want this thing near me. But I will say I was taken aback a little bit when I first saw the Titans. These big giant naked bodies running around eating people. But so he was bummed because the Saturday night we watched, so he's only shown me a few episodes of season 1, and we got through episode 7 on season 1. He's like, what do you think of the show so far? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, it's weird. And, I thought this, what's his name? This Aaron guy.
Yep.
I'm like, I thought he was the main character and he's gone already. So, I mean, I don't know what to think. And he starts to gets a smirk on his face, because he knows what happens.
Yeah.
And so he was really excited for me to watch episode 8. And I think episode 7 is where they introduce that Titan that's for some reason attacking the other Titans. Right?
Okay.
And so episode 8, we started watching it that morning before I brought him to his mom's. And then he is like, what do you think's going on? Why do you think this one's, I'm like, that one's probably Aaron or something. I'm like, I'm like, that one's probably him. That's what it's going to be. And then the reveal happened and he's like looking at me. He's like, you called it. I'm like, see, I don't know. I haven't got to any point where they're explaining how he came to be controlling this thing, but I called it. And so I think it's because he was wondering.
He was kind of pushing you to come up with a conclusion and plus, he's kind of smirking at you because you're like, oh, Aaron's gone. And he's like, or is he,
Right.
So it immediately kind of gave you this idea of like, oh, okay, I guess Aaron's gonna be this
Back.
Titan. So
Yeah, episode 8 does not get into how this is possible, because even one character is like, how's this possible?
Yeah.
I watched you get eaten. And his like at first, when he's just flying through the air, his like half his leg gets bit off before he even gets really eaten by the other guy. So he just comes out fully intact. All limbs are there. So I'm curious to see what. I don't know if I'm going to watch the whole series, but
oh, dude, you'll get hooked. Trust me, because it
will.
took me a little while. It took me a little while to get hooked into it. Because it's one of those shows that like everybody was talking about it for a long time. Like, oh, it's so good, so good. And I would hear tons of stuff. And like Corridor Crew has done a bunch of videos about like Titan sizes and stuff, like how big they would really be and stuff. It's actually kind of cool. So everybody was talking about it for a long time. So I'm finally like, all right, I'm gonna sit down and actually watch it. And it took a little bit, and then once it gets going, you're just like, all right, I gotta see where this next up. Like, because it's a show that's good about getting you to the point where you're like, all right, well, now I got to see what's next.
Sure.
Okay, that episode's done. Now I got to see what's next. You know,
I will say what I think I mentioned this before to you and on the show, but Game of Thrones was great at that. It was like you finish an episode and you're like, I have to watch, unless you're someone who was watching it weekly, because I think it was released weekly. But if you're jumping in late and just binging it, you're staying up way later than you wanted to, because you're like, I can't not watch the next episode now.
That is such a thing with binge watching stuff. Is it just if it's a show that keeps you hooked, it's like, fuck, I gotta, like, okay, I'm gonna watch another one,
one more,
and then you're like, all right, this weekend I got a bunch of stuff I got to do, but let me throw on a couple episodes and then I'll get into my stuff. And then next thing you know, it's like I got to go to work in 5 hours,
or I have to go to work now.
I haven't eaten at all this weekend. But yeah, I think give it a go. Watch it through. I think it's a fun show. There's crazy stuff. It gets crazy. There's some more crazier Titans that keep popping up throughout it, and interesting stuff happens.
No, wait a minute. They have sort of
an interesting introduction for you to like really trying to get into anime. It's a very interesting first. I had seen real experience.
He had watched Naruto, and I had seen some of that kind of,
that's tame anime kind of stuff to me. Like the kids anime stuff is like, I'm not into that stuff so much.
But again, it was every time Naruto talked, it was like the highest level of screaming, like every single line he ever said. I'm like, come on, like, why do they? Is there no levels? Are there no levels of anger, of frustration?
Yeah, it's very
0 to 1,000.
Calm, or it's very calm or very angry.
And man, those shows love to have people just go, huh, 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 like just so much of that. No one can silently react. It's like there has to be that everywhere. So we'll see. I definitely won't be like, oh man, I can't wait for Leo to get back here because of what I can watch more Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
I'll watch it when we want to watch it, but I'm not like, oh man, I can't wait to watch episode 9. I'm not going to be like that.
No, but I mean, if you end up enjoying it, there's definitely, I mean, trust me, I've got tons of recommended stuff that I think you would enjoy. Because like I'm not like a Dragon Ball Z kind of, like, I don't like that style of anime as much. I like the stuff that's a little bit more geared towards adult stuff, or stuff that's a little bit more like, I don't know, like, I guess kind of more grounded in reality-ish, though I watch some weird fantasy type anime stuff too, so it's not.
Well, the one thing I'll say so far, again, these giant Titan things, but aside from them hinting to this one girl being like really strong, I forget her name, but it seems like they're all just people that don't have any kind of crazy powers, because everyone in a lot of anime I've seen They can always sort of power up some kind of crazy fight move where the background gets all crazy, and there's
that's very
so many
Dragon Ball
wild,
Z
fantastical
and,
fights. Naruto does that too. They have these things
Yep,
they
there's
do.
definitely that aspect of anime. I told you before, I think you would really like Miyazaki's stuff. Like sometimes some of it's very like fantasy like and stuff like that, but it's just the animation style, the storytelling, it's all really, really good. So I think you'd enjoy it. So we'll ease you in, Sean.
This is not going to become I start watching anime.
So going to be a thing.
It is not. If I can't find time to watch stuff that I would want to watch on my own without okay, you convinced me, I'm not going to go and watch a bunch of anime.
Here's the thing, Sean.
What is the thing?
Better than you're going to start possibly doing movie reactions on your YouTube channel.
Oh, it's not possible. It's going to happen. I'm up to 8 votes now.
Oh shit.
8 votes.
Okay.
All yes.
It's going to happen. Sean's going to start doing movie reactions on his YouTube channel. Obviously he can't do the full reactions on YouTube.
Correct.
So those maybe will get released somewhere else if people intend to watch them. But if there's any anime movies that people want Sean to get into, look, that's an easy one because Sean hasn't seen them at all. So there won't be any, I've seen that movie.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about this little call to action you're putting out there right now because of the history of this show and our history of calls to action to anyone that might actually listen to this.
Well, you're going to get void. You're going to get a few specifically from me. I will throw some anime movies at you. All
right. Well, become a supporter, and then I might listen to the. I
follow your channel.
I'm not talking about following me.
You're telling me I need to support you on Patreon.
I'm talking. You need to get on.
So the only way you will do any movie is if somebody supports you specifically and gives you money to do it.
No.
Okay, I will say you.
No. I will say right now, I will not watch any anime suggested by any non-supporters. How about that?
Oh,
you must be a supporter of. You must support you must be a Patreon member. I don't know I don't know what the terms are.
How about this? This is the way I'm going to support you right now.
Okay.
So as far as the services we use to do this podcast, I pay more per month than you do.
Oh, okay. So you're going to forgive me?
I'll just forgive your debt, and you just watch any movie I suggest. Done.
It's not as much as you.
Honestly, I would never throw movies at you that I don't think you would actually at least enjoy. Not that you'd be like, that was the greatest movie I've ever seen, I'm going to watch it 8 million times. But at least you'd be like, yeah, that was a good watch. It was interesting. It's because I got introduced to anime, I think I'm not sure if it was exactly the first movie I ever watched, because there might be a different one that I might have watched before it, but Akira, which is considered one of the top, probably in the top 10 of all anime movies ever. It was released in 1988. It's an awesome movie. It's weird. It's kind of hard to follow the first time you watch it, but it's just, for the time it came out and the story it is, and it's originally based off of a manga, and it's set in Neo Tokyo, so it's future Tokyo, and it's just kind of it's biker gangs, but this crazy weird government shit happens and stuff. But it's an awesome movie. But Ninja Scroll was one of the first ones I ever saw. Ghost in the Shell was another one I was trying to think of. I ever saw.
Is
also an awesome movie.
Is Cowboy Bebop just a movie or just a show or both?
So it's both. So it was it's a short series. It's not a very it's an awesome series. I think you would actually really like it. And then partway through the series, the movie came out after the series was done, but the movie takes place kind of somewhere in the middle-ish of the actual series.
Interesting.
But Cowboy Bebop's a great one as well. It's probably my favorite series, anime series of all time.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, then pretty much all of Miyazaki's movies are awesome. Pretty much just almost anything that comes out of Studio Ghibli in general is awesome.
Well,
so,
we know from a conversation earlier this episode that I had with someone else that the next movie I am going to watch is probably going to have to be South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Yeah, but you won't be doing a reaction to it.
No. I've seen it already.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I honestly think, dude, you're not going to have to sit through it and watch it. There's no way your son should see that movie yet. If we didn't see it, if it's R-rated, we didn't see it until we were 17.
I know that, but I'm wondering if it came out. It's just that was just the timing. It came out when we were that age. I wonder if we would have seen it at a younger age if it came out years prior. I don't know. We can't say that or not. Not to say that it would have been
growing up at that time, though. Too.
Yeah, but not to say that
world.
Not to say that it would have been appropriate for us to see it at a younger age. But I wonder if we would have found a way to see it, or been given the okay to see it, or have a parent take us to see it, or something.
Yeah, and then our parents regretting it.
Yeah, or like walking us out mid-movie.
Yeah. Not even mid. We wouldn't have made it to mid.
Opening credits. We're out of here.
So I think the second song is Kyle's Mom's a Bitch.
I
remember.
The thing is, it's not even like in that example, it's not even the words. It's just the meaning.
Yeah.
Like just the idea of calling someone's mom that is not a good thing to teach a kid.
Yeah.
But my son and his friends, they do your mama jokes all the time.
Yeah,
so they don't mean any. Yeah, I know, but they don't mean. They don't ever really assume they're saying those things. Like they don't mean those things about the person's mom. It's just the funny aspect of saying that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's weird because you want to go, hey, you shouldn't be saying things like that. Talking about someone's mom like that. You want to teach kids to not be mean spirited at all. Mm-hmm. But then you think about when you were a kid, and it wasn't. You're right. It wasn't about that. It was just about trying to say something. Just saying something mean with like an empty target, sort of.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind in that movie there is a sexually abusive relationship between Satan and Buddha.
There's no way he can watch. No, there's no way he can watch that. You're right. See, I would have
floppy dildo at some point.
Yeah. I remember when that happened in the theater. I'm like, they're showing this? But obviously, it's still a cartoon in a way. But it was.
I love that. I'm just reminding you of parts of this movie that you're just more and more being like, "There's no way my son can watch this."
but if you weren't telling me these things right now, I would have to watch it to remember that these things happen. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep. Oh man.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Man, I do not remember that. I'm sure because I was.
I do
you
fondly
remember it.
I fondly remember the song that Big Gay Al does.
See, I don't remember this character.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you don't remember Big Gay Al and Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride?
Oh yeah, and he's got the animals, right?
He says like, "Don't you think I look cute in this hat?"
Oh yeah. Here's my gay lion. Roar.
It's like everything is better when you're gay or something like that. I can't remember the song exactly, but
because
I do remember the make the sound of a dying giraffe.
before you started rattling some of these things off, I was trying to cycle through my head like, okay, what's the worst thing I can remember from that movie? And I couldn't pull anything. Just knowing that there's just sexual references and stuff like that all over the place. Just knowing that they're there, but not being able to recall any specific ones. So that's how my brain works. Like, I know it's bad, but I can't remember why it's bad.
All the stuff with how Saddam, like the devil can't seem to get out of his abusive relationship with Saddam Hussein.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's so stupid.
You know what's funny?
Movie.
Here's my dumb brain. Like, the only thing really, I remember Blame Canada. That was a pretty harmless one if I remember right. But the only thing that I really took away from that movie is the song that Satan is singing about, I want to be up there. I remember that, right?
Okay.
Where he says the skies are ocean blue. And I'm like, the ocean looks blue because of the sky. This is backwards. This is wrong.
Right.
I couldn't. That bugged me, and that's something that's like the one thing from that movie that stuck with me.
Like, my son could watch this.
Yeah,
that's the worst that happened.
He'll probably pick up on that foible as just as I did, and we'll both have a laugh about it.
Yeah, none of the other stuff is going to matter.
Yeah, he will be fixated on that part just like I was, and he'll not even really pay attention to the rest of the movie. Wow. Yeah. Well, if
he'll think
at
it's
very
funny
least
that Brooke Shields farted on the set of Blue Lagoon.
You remember?
I don't know why, dude. I remember the dumbest shit. I just remember that because she says that, and then there's a beat, and then one of the two, Terrence or Phillip, just slaps her across the face.
Oh, that's right.
And that I remember my dad.
Because the
only part of the movie my dad laughed at was her getting slapped across the face out of nowhere.
Well, what does that say about your father?
Why. He just thought that was so funny.
He's old school. Your dad. Because that was the big thing with those two guys, right? They farted a lot.
Yeah, the whole movie was just fart jokes. Their whole movie that they put out. Yeah.
So she tries to relate. I farted once on the set of Blue Lagoon.
They were on Conan or something, and that's what she said because they were talking about their movie. And the whole plot of South Park movie is that the kids all want to go see the new Terrence and Phillip movie. The Terrence and Phillip movie is all just a bunch of fart jokes and has that Uncle Fucker song in it.
Okay, that's in that. Oh, so this was a commentary on itself.
I kind of in the end, yeah. Because
parents were definitely not wanting their kids to go see the South Park movie, but all the kids wanted to see the South Park movie. How self-aware.
Yeah.
That those Matt Stone and Trey Parkers.
Yep. It was just, they made a satire comedy about their movie, which is tough to do, but they pulled it off.
They did, and it's too bad they decided not to ever stop. Just like The Simpsons, they've just decided we're never going to stop.
And
like It's Always Sunny. It's like we're never going to stop
since that movie. Really,
yeah. I don't
really engaged in South Park stuff at all since that time.
Keep me in the like Chinpokomon era.
That's a good episode.
Oh, I love that episode so much. My favorite part.
No, I'm thinking of they did an anime episode, which is hilarious if you've never seen it. Where they're basically like role playing, and then like when they're actually role playing, it's like it's all them, but like as these crazy tough anime characters, like the animation style changes and stuff. And then like I think Butters gets like a very serious injury. I think one of the kids throws a throwing star into his eye.
Oh wow!
Throughout the episode, and like there's all this crazy stuff happening, but there's a super funny song that plays in that episode. That I'll have to try to find it and show it to you. It's so funny.
The Chinpokomon episode sticks out to me because first of all, one of the Pokemon was just a shoe, and so I love that. Or not one of the Pokemon, I'm sorry. One of the Chinpokomon. And when they're doing the focus group, and they're like, hey, kids, you guys love Chinpokomon. Would you also let's show you some other ads of some things we were thinking of releasing and tell us what you think about them. And the two commercials they run. Do you remember these?
No.
They're live action commercials, so it's not South Park animation. The first one, I wish I could remember what it is. I think it's some kind of board game. Or some kind of family play in the living room type of game. And they're all having a great time. and it's all cheery. And then out of nowhere, the one kid just looks up at the mom and goes, "I wish Dad were still alive." And then it just goes like there's like a to the music, and it's just
Yeah.
Then it goes right back to the happy something game we're playing. It goes right back to the certain happy narration voice. The next one is the Wild Wacky Action Bike.
Okay.
And it's not a traditional bike where you have your handlebars and you steer the front wheel with the handlebars.
Mm-hmm.
The front wheel has a bar that faces you this way, and the back wheel has a bar that faces this way. And you have to hold both bars and try to steer both wheels at the same time.
Right.
And they even show a kid having barely being able to move in the thing and having such a struggle with it. And it even the narration goes like, "Wild Wacky Action Bike is impossible to steer, and it glows in the dark." And there's just like a shot of it glowing in the dark. I'm like, this is, I love that so much.
Yeah,
that's when South Park was good.
Yeah, we did something. We had a joke similar-ish to that where, what was the thing we did where it was like we had we were doing some sort of cleaning product or something, but we were like saying it like all this different stuff it would clean up, and then one of it listed a bunch of stuff, and like one was like confetti or something. Are you recalling this slightly?
I remember. No, was that the list of side effects? No. For Peptochondrofed?
No.
What was that? Was this I can't remember what this is.
I feel like it was around the time we were making the joke about the juice appler and stuff like that, and then we also had some sort of like cleaning thing, like it cleans this and confetti.
You know
what? That might be an Octopi joke.
Maybe
it might be in the Octopi joke stuff,
like in the ideas folder or something.
Yeah, I probably have it in there. I'm gonna take a quick look to see if I can find it, but that's what that's reminding me of for whatever reason.
Well, it also made me think a little bit of the Dog Lifter 3000.
Yeah,
just because we have the point where you're showing how easy it is to use, and you're just slowly raising that dog with the car jack, and I just laughed on camera because it was taking so long because you weren't doing full range of motion.
Of course I wasn't.
I lost it for a second in that video. I wish we had a copy of that somewhere. But and then there's the testimonial section we did where, I say something about the Dog Lifter and how it changed my life or something, and you're just like, me too.
Yep.
Or something. It's just not it wasn't something that was like, yeah, I also this. It was it didn't fit. Yeah. And I loved it. And
the joke was it cleans soap scum, toilet ring, rust, lime stains, confetti, and then it stops.
What was it? What do we have a name for the?
That's it. That's the whole joke. Like that's what is in the joke.
We didn't even come up with an.
Yeah, we had an idea of some cleaning product, and then we were going to list all these different things that it would clean.
Yeah.
And then the last one was like confetti, and I think the joke was just going to cut off there. Like maybe it was like an infomercial that they were watching or something.
And it would, it
would just cut at confetti. It's just because it would just be one of those things that's just there, and then you either catch it or you don't. So people would just be like, "Wait, what? Did they just say confetti?"
Yeah. Well, we just revealed that to the world. So
yeah, well,
nobody's
going to hear this.
He's being put to just as much use as all of our other ideas in that folder.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Most of them are not better than that.
I have one that I am massively proud of, and I don't know if it's in there or if it's just on my phone from a long time ago, but I don't want to talk about it on here in case we ever want to turn it into something. I can tell you about it off mic.
I'm going to get a little treat after this recording's over.
Yeah.
And if anybody else wants to hear that joke or be told personally by Sean, then you need to go to his Patreon and support suggest a movie for him to watch.
Wait, why don't you promote our Patreon?
Well, you can do that too. You have to go to both of our Patreons.
Whoa.
Suggest a movie for Sean to watch on his, and if you've done that and you come to our Patreon and support us there, then you will hear about this amazing idea that Sean has that he can't remember if it might already be in a folder that I know all the contents
access
of.
To. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. Do we even have like tiers on our Patreon, like subscription
No,
levels?
we haven't done anything. We haven't done anything on our Patreon.
So everyone, if you try to do it right now,
yeah.
Well, you could be I found you could like become a member and not at a you could. There's like a free level.
Okay.
So I think even if you set up just like paid levels, you have like this sort of default free level that people can.
Okay.
You can decide if they have access to anything at the free level, but
right.
there's because that's what I discovered. I'm like, whoa, I have a member. When did this happen? And they're at like a free level.
Yeah.
So, which is smart because right now there's nothing on there to pay for.
Yeah, and same with ours. There's currently nothing on there. I would love to get some content on there. Unfortunately, Sean doesn't have time. Nope. I kind of have time to do it. I won't have time in the next month, but
right, moving.
Yeah, I'm going to be moving for getting stuff ready to go here the next month for moving. But after that, maybe I can hunker down and try to start coming up with some ideas of stuff that we might want to start throwing up on our Patreon. But that would also involve Sean having the time to do it as well. So we will figure that out. I'm
trying to crank through these episodes.
Yes. I mean, you burned through a lot here in the last. Sean's posted 3 episodes in the last week, I think.
At least, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So they're getting up there. If you guys are more, if you guys like to watch more than you like to listen, check out the YouTube stuff. It's up there. It's just, it's the same thing. You just get to see us doing it.
Yeah. In all of our either completely changing focus glory, or in this case, zooming and moving glory.
Yeah.
We're
unfortunately, my camera likes to go in and out of focus a lot, and I have zero control over it.
Well, it just tries to refocus on you. For some reason, your subtle movements will cause it to maybe try to focus on the microphone or maybe something in the background briefly. Then it always refocuses back to you, but it happens often.
Yeah. I'll eventually just get a better camera, but this one's better than what I had. So
in the last 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes in the last 6 days.
Oh, there you go. 4 in the last 6. And it's that, and one of those was, one of those was the one that took forever for you to get edited, right?
No, that one was 3 weeks ago that I posted that one.
That was 3 weeks ago already. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that, number 170?
174 was the daunting one for me, and now we're up to 178, and I'm in the process of editing 179 now, and then
and this is 189, so Sean's only 10 behind now.
I remember when I thought, oh man, I'm still 6 behind. Like when I first started doing it, I'm like, I'm 6 behind. Now I'm catching up to get to be 10 behind.
Unfortunately, the first one you had to do was a 3-camera video, and you had to learn so much while doing it that one took we've got we don't need to rehash. We've talked about that on here. I don't think we need to rehash. I know. I'm just saying that it unfortunately got you immediately behind.
Oh yeah. Anyway, enough of that.
But yeah, if anybody wants to check out an episode that's not just 2 dudes talking to each other, there's a couple skits in there.
Yeah.
Some fun, interesting animation stuff happening in number 174.
We also, two of our video episodes have guests on them too. 168, the Stunt Beast, and then 171 is Old Snooze Magoo. So you can check out where it's more than just that Matt and I.
Yeah, for anybody who's curious about what either of those men
other people we've talked to look like. I don't think we have since then.
I don't think we've had
between the episodes I have to edit and now. I don't think we have any where there's guests on.
No.
So,
or any additional things after 174 that are going to be more interesting than just looking at the two of us talking.
Well, there was one where I had to put up a picture, but that's easy.
Yeah, we did a bunch of gadgets.
Well, there's that, but the 176, there was an image of when someone had to like go around and source all these weird ways to get egg dye because they didn't have any in France.
Oh,
so they were using like onion oil and all, or whatever. Like, so there was an image of, look at the eggs I dyed with the stuff I was able to put together because egg dye, egg color is so hard to get. There was that image, and then there was an image of the Radio Shack something or other computer.
Oh, okay.
Whatever that was called. Yeah, I had to look up the picture of that and throw that up for all to see.
There you go. That shows you how much I've been going back and fully watching the YouTube videos you've done as well.
Well, you know,
I always skim through them to make sure everything, not that you don't know that everything's good, but I always skim through them.
Well, I didn't notice that this last one was only half an episode and I had to re-upload it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sean had to re-upload the last episode because only half of it loaded.
Yeah, it was weird.
So I always jump to the end to see what little tag you put on at the end.
Sure.
It's like, okay, it's almost at the end. I'll just let it play through, and all of a sudden it just went to black. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I had to replay it. I should have known that it was only 44 minutes long. I should have known that it wasn't, or no, it was only 40 minutes long. I should have known it wasn't the full episode right there. But
yeah, well, I took a lot out. I was embarrassed by a lot of that episode, so I shortened the dickens out of that thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I took some artistic liberties. And greatly modified it and made it very different from the audio version.
Yeah, to make your own narrative.
Yeah. I should. Oh, that's a good idea. I should make like a chop up episode where I say things that sound really smart, and your responses are always very, or something, you know. Matt, what's the Matt, what's the capital of Uruguay? And you're like, pizza. I'm like, oh, Matt, again, they can't all be pizza. Suggesting that the capital of one place is pizza.
Over and over. Pizza.
Yeah, kind of.
Use that one right there.
That's sort of my. I'll get a grab of that.
Yeah.
I'll isolate it. Yeah.
That's what our Patreon it's going to be. Is just you make videos that make me look like an idiot.
You know what? There is
a bunch of quizzes, and I always just say pizza.
I don't remember if I still can access it, but there was an episode where you had a string of sayings that were very focused on yourself and how gross you are sexually or something. And
really,
I'm like, I'm going to chop this up and I'm going to just make a clip, like a master clip of all these things. And I took them all, and I don't remember if I exported that as itself just to edit later, or if I know I did it. So it's somewhere.
Oh boy!
But I'm like, I want to just put all these together and show them sometime.
Man, if only you had time to do it.
Yeah.
It's just an audio?
Well, no.
Oh, it was a video episode?
It was recent.
All that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh Christ!
Yeah, it would have been.
I don't remember. It's an episode that you have edited already, and it's up.
Yeah.
Oh Christ!
I just don't remember which. We'd have to watch the whole one.
Yeah,
my hard drive. My hard drive's not plugged into my computer right now, so I can't dig into the folders to see if I can find it. But
I can't recall a time I've ever made a ton of self-deprecating humor toward. It's not something I do.
Yeah,
I never say rude, crude, weird, sexual stuff about myself. About my huge, gigantic, massively tiny penis.
See, that was a misdirect. Classic misdirect. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, it's grossly
undersized. I meant your penis in reality is a misdirect. Once it's revealed, people are like, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, because it points in a weird direction, so they immediately their attention goes that way.
Yeah, it always points due north.
Yeah.
And that's not to say you always have an erection. It's to say that no matter which direction you're facing, it's pointed north.
I mean, it's so small that it can only ever be hard. There's no way for it to.
Is that like a weird restriction on volume?
Something like that.
It's a strange state of matter. You find your penis constantly in. I like it.
Strange state of Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Mine's always a gas. Like,
And it releases gas.
yeah.
Sperm gas.
Oh,
Well,
there's so much protein in the air.
I've been watching Mythbusters lately.
Sean's on a rerun kick.
Well, they're all reruns.
Yeah.
I knew I was aware of the show, and I know I had seen some of it in its original run.
Oh,
but
you never really watched it back in the day?
not really. I remember being aware of it. There was
Loved that show back in the day.
Something came on YouTube where there was Adam Savage was doing some kind of question answering session where he's just answering questions that people sent in to him, and a lot of them were about his like contentious relationship with Jamie, the co-host. And I'm like, I'm curious to see if I like pick up on anything that might be evident in the show.
I don't feel like they really had that so much during the show. I feel like that maybe was something that kind of happened later on.
I don't know. He's going to say that sometimes they're differing approaches towards solving a problem, or just their overall stubbornness toward a certain idea.
Right.
They bumped heads a lot because of things like that. But on camera, they're very cordial, and it's all about just.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, there's a lot of times there's a lot of myths that they would do where they would both just take their own approach to it. Like they would each just kind of like, well, I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to do it this way, and then we'll see what we both come up with and stuff. So that was probably a lot of the ways of solving those issues of like not coming up with the same idea.
The one example that I can remember him giving is they had to do a thing where they're trying to point mirrors at something to have it reflect light back in a certain way. I forget what the whole purpose of it was, but they're like, well, we need a way to. Maybe
I think it was from like The Mummy when they like turned a mirror and then all of a sudden the whole room was lit up.
Possibly. They said they needed to have. They decided to, in order to be able to tell where the light was actually shining, reflecting back onto, they needed to have something for the light to hit, and so they were just decided to get some kind of netting to catch the light. And Jamie's just like, we need to order some black netting, and then Adam was like, well, white netting will reflect more photons of light than black netting will, because black absorbs it. You know, it's just how it. This is what it does.
Yeah,
and it's like. But that doesn't, and I guess Jamie's just like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, we should get black netting. It looks better for the camera or something. Like he's like, I don't see how that makes sense. And then Adam's like, no, it's by all experiments, it is actually it's you can't argue it. The tests show that white reflects more photons of light than black does. It's a fact. And so they were just stuff like that. Jamie was just very insistent, like, no, I want black netting. Like, just
all right. Then let's get both and see what happens.
Right, but seems to. Oh no! So what happened was they ordered black.
Yeah,
and it turned out to not show very much light reflecting back. So they had to paint the netting white. You know, it's just like so stuff like that. He's talked about like so stuff like that is where we really just. You know, he's like, I had a blast doing the show, and you know, we're not. He's like, we got along, and we this and that, but we're not friends. We've never had a dinner alone together. Like we've never socialized outside of the show. But these things, they would just. Someone would just be like, I'm dying on this hill, and this is my opinion, and this is where I want it to go. And they're like, but look, the figures say this is not the right way to do it. Well, still, I don't know.
Jamie should know that shit. Jamie's not stupid.
I know, but he could have just been trying to get under Adam's skin or something. But
maybe
no. I caught this one episode, and again, this is me putting it on, falling asleep a lot, and so I'm somehow up to like season 7, and I bet you I've seen 12 episodes. But anyway. There was one part that I saw, and I remember actually seeing it way back in the day. They were trying to see if you could be on a swing, like at a playground, and swing all the way around.
Right.
So they ended up hooking like a rocket to a swing with a crash dummy in it, and seeing how that would work. Yeah, Buster. And I'm like, I actually remember this part. So that's the only part that I've seen that I'm like, oh, I remember seeing that when it was on the first time.
Yeah, I used to watch a lot of that show. I used to watch a lot of that show, and I used to watch a lot of Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe.
I watched more of that than
Yeah.
Mythbusters.
I liked that show because Mike Rowe was such a smartass.
Yeah. Yeah.
It made
I
it
like Mike Rowe a lot. I like him. And there was a question about how come they never crossed over.
Mm.
And there was a big to do about it. It was just the both shows got so popular at the same time that scheduling could never be worked out. They wanted to do like a crossover thing where Mike was on their show and they were on his show, but it just never worked out scheduling wise, I guess. So
That
fun fact.
Cool. Fun fact.
Yeah, if you want to, I mean, if you go, I think Adam's YouTube channel is called like Tested or something, and he just has. So on that channel, there's all these sort of questionnaire videos
he does like one day build and stuff like that. That's the thing he does, where he takes something and just spends a day building some crazy like contraption
thing.
or like replica of some type.
Oh man, this one I just watched. We don't need to just go into a deep dive on Mythbusters, but they were trying to test the action movie thing where you're hanging onto a ledge for a long time and you have like maybe 2 inches of ledge to work with. How long can you really hang on? And so the first guy, there was like that called the Builder Group or the Builder Team that was sort of like the secondary myth team.
Tori Graham Carey.
Yeah, so Tori, I think, is the guy who was the first one to test out how long he could hang on this ledge. So they went to like a firefighter. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're getting towards.
He falls and nails his shin on this ledge of the window below him, and everyone after that realizes, hey, let's go in between the windows. So this is not possible.
Tori fucked himself up on that show so many times.
Yeah, but
there's a time where he's like riding a bicycle and he tries to hop over a. This was like not.
I saw that too.
He's trying to hop over a wagon and just biffs it and just goes right over the handlebars, and he just gets up. He's like, I'm fine.
Yeah. So the sad thing about him hitting his shin on the ledge was that was his only time testing how far he could or how long he could last. The other two had to take over while he went to the ER to get stitched up and stuff. Yeah. So every time they show him, it's just him crashing his shin into the window ledge. I'm like,
God, it looks so awful too.
Why do I have to watch this? Why don't they just show him fall and not show him fall all the way to the window every time? But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun.
It's a fun show. Yeah, I'd rewatch it at some point if I just like, let me throw something on that's familiar that I don't,
Yeah, it's all on. I have Max, so I'm just watching it all on there.
Nice.
That's the one reason I have refused to upgrade my cell phone plan to something more modern because I will lose my free Max subscription.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so
don't want to go do that now.
No, I've thought about.
Eventually, you'll have to, but.
Well, I've looked into it. I'm like, how much would I save if I switched? And is that difference equal to or greater the cost of the Max subscription? Would it balance out or would it? Anyway, but I forget what conclusion I came to. So I would have to relook at it. And I'm sure the plans are different now than what they were when I was even inquiring about it a few years ago. So
yeah, who knows? Maybe you'll get Max for free again.
So that's
no.
No, it was back when we were partnered with AT&T was partnered with like Time Warner or whatever, or we owned DirecTV, and so we got all these like DirecTV deals, and that went away, and then the Max subscription went away if you upgraded your plan. Blah 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 blah.
Lame.
Stupid. Well, that's a little window into my life that I'm watching Mythbusters lately, and I watched some Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Titan.
Yeah. Other than unless you want to get into what you did at improv this last.
Oh, I didn't go. I was home with a child with strep.
Oh, that's right.
So I emailed the teacher saying, you know what? Also, nothing against this teacher at all. I've just never met him before this class. I don't know him.
Mhm.
I don't even remember seeing him in shows in the past. I'm not familiar with him at all. Erin Kennedy, who I love seeing do improv because she's incredible, posted that later this summer she's teaching this class. And I'm like, oh, it would have been, I think I would have been excited to have her as a teacher instead of, I'm not saying instead of who I have, because again, he's fine. I have nothing to compare to. Also, I don't know as how he is as compared to other improv teachers, but I'm just saying I'm so familiar with her and I'm a fan of her work that I'm like, oh, if I would have waited a couple of months, I would have been learning from her instead.
So what you're saying is you have a crush on Erin Kennedy.
I don't have that. No.
So what you're saying is you're deeply in love with Erin Kennedy.
I'm not saying that.
So what you're saying is you want to bang.
She is married,
Erin
sir.
Doesn't mean you don't want to bang her.
She is married and has at least one child with that person.
Yeah, then I know you don't want to bang her.
Yeah, the married part I was fine with.
She's damaged goods.
Oh, that's, you know what? Matt said that. I didn't say that. That's something Matt said. Those are not my thoughts on that.
It's all messed up down there now. It's an exit only.
Just because Matt refuses to be with someone that has had kids doesn't mean I am.
I'm saying I refuse.
You'll just find it gross.
Yeah. It's like day old spaghetti down there.
Good thing you can't be anything but hard.
It's day old spaghetti that wasn't refrigerated down there.
You know, just in the context of spaghetti, sometimes that's it tastes better the second day.
Not that's why I specified it was day old spaghetti that wasn't refrigerated.
Oh, yeah.
You're not. Yeah.
It's not safe to go. It's not safe to. You'll find yourself ill.
Yeah, you're gonna be in that bathroom all day afterwards.
Yeah.
If you hook up with a woman who's had a child.
Matt's words again. Matt's words, not mine.
You're going to be puking your guts out.
The individuals of High School Famous. Wait, what's that disclaimer? How their views do not match the whatever? Are not the views of CBS and whatever the giant entity that is being shown on. Squadcast or Libsyn does. The views expressed on the show are not the shared by Libsyn and its subsidiaries and all that kind of stuff. All that legal talk to get themselves out of the hot seat.
Yeah, the ideas expressed by the individuals, Sean and Matt, are not the sole ideas of High School Famous as a whole, as a unit, as a company,
or even the members within it. We're the whole thing.
Only us. The things we say on the podcast do not reflect against the High School Famous as a whole, as an entirety.
Wait, I'm trying to
keep that in mind, investors.
I'm trying to separate myself from you right now. I'm not trying to separate the podcast from us. I'm trying to separate myself from you.
I'm just saying our two specific ideas, our individual ideas,
good or bad,
do not reflect on High School Famous as a whole when it comes to investors wanting to come in and give us lots and lots and tons of money that will help keep my tiny penis fully erect all the time, like it already is.
High School Famous as a whole is very indifferent and complacent about all things. And so
High School Famous as a whole is same day spaghetti. I'm face deep in that shit. As a whole. As holes go.
Why are you ever face deep in your food?
I'm always face deep in a hole.
I see.
Yeah, always.
So when you eat your spaghetti, do you like stir it around so there's a hole in the middle, and then you put your face in it?
Yep, and then I just go, and
And
it
then
all just.
then you perform cunnilingus on your food?
I perform cunnilingus on everything.
I've never experienced this. I've known you for a long time. I've never experienced this as an observer or someone who's you're acting upon.
Well, you just wait, buddy.
I've been waiting for over
You're
25 years.
A treat. This is a pretty new development for me. Like since the last time you were in.
How is it a new development that you've never performed it on me? How is that a new development? You should also know this.
This is something new that I always do.
Oh, I see. You didn't always do this. Okay.
Yeah. This is something that I now always do.
Okay. So when did this start?
I didn't always do it, but now I always do it.
Gotcha. You went from never doing it to always doing it.
Yes.
Just
that. Just real quick.
There was no like, let me try it once and see how it is.
Yeah, no. It was like I tried it once. Well, I said let me try it once, and then I was like, no, I'm hooked. I'm always doing this.
Yeah, you just went in head first.
Yeah. Face first.
You didn't dip your toe in first.
Yeah.
In the same day spaghetti hole.
No, that'd be weird. If you ever say like let me dip my toe in first when it comes to like a sexual thing, unless the sexual thing is foot specific. Like
with a cadaver?
No, it's like an FJ.
Yeah, but okay, like with a cadaver.
So it doesn't, Sean. It's nothing. It's not always about a cadaver.
But it can be, right? It can be about a cadaver.
Well, anything can be about a cadaver. It just doesn't have to be.
Got it. All right. Well, see you next Tuesday, class. Ring, 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 ring. Hallway commotion. Lockers closing. Laughter. Tag. Final clip.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, or Instagram at hsfamouspod, or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
I mean, it's so small that it can only ever be hard.